All right, we are live. This is not a live that I thought I'd be doing on a Monday night, to be honest. So it's been just got back from the podcast studio, in fact. So welcome, Sainers. Welcome to Woody as well for joining me in this big video. Last week we got some big news on a Monday, and we've got some more big news seemingly on a Monday. It's good news again.
I thought these were meant to be Tuesday releases. I thought they were. I keep getting surprised by them, like out of the blue.
Yeah, like why don't they know for YouTubers that we just need a little bit more of a heads up for this sort of stuff? I would have had videos prepped. I would have had reels prepped. I had a couple of images prepped and designed thanks to my designer. He did a great job. But Tom the Koning looks like I still can't quite say that it's done. I guess it's done. It's done. Confirmed to St Kilda on an 8-year deal around the 1.7 mark is what's been reported at the moment. It's probably the worst kept secret in football. Oscar Allen, we know, is going to Brisbane. That was another one. Legally, no doubt, once the Giants finals campaign, probably that drops as well. This is something that's been talked about probably as much as the Naz deal, to be honest, and in tandem. Isn't that right, Woody?
Yeah, I mean, I think this one's, as you said, it's the worst kept secret in footy. It's been around everyone. I think it's 5 rounds in we started hearing about this, and it's eventuated. There's a lot of thoughts out there. A lot of people have had their thoughts. I'm an excited Sainer. I think this is going to be a great time going forward.
There he is.
Things we've needed for a while. Oh, Tez. I don't have anything, but cheers.
Yeah, that's good enough.
Yeah, I'm very excited. I'm very excited.
I think, in the comments so far, it looks like a lot of Sainers are excited. But obviously, I know that there's a large portion of the fan base that have their issues with it. Obviously, with the price tag, with how that might affect Rowe. And obviously, in some cases, some people thought maybe that would be the main factor as to why we couldn't re-sign Naz, why he might go, and that sort of thing. I kind of always believed from the very start that we'd prepped to sign players, to retain players, and to hit free agency and to be able to offer lucrative contracts to players that we thought would fit a need. And so far, it looks like in the last 2 weeks, that's happened. We've re-signed the player that we wanted to, the star of the comp. And now we can go and dip our toes into free agency and get players from other clubs that hopefully make us stronger in the next 2 years, which is, it seems like that's really where we want to do our push up the ladder.
Yeah, it seems like I think a lot was hinging on that Naz decision and kind of list builds, general plans. I mean, contracts that we wanted to give players going forward, that sort of stuff. So I think that security gives a bit more security and clarity into the plan going forward. And when you get these big name players, it means that not only we think internally things are moving in a right direction, but like people externally are starting to see what could happen. So I think TDK is one of those ones that, he fits perfectly in some of our needs. Like Roma's a good around the ground footballer, but probably not the best pure ruckman in terms of ruckman. I love the fact we're going to get him in. I was literally finishing up the Marabometrics episode and looking at some of Roma's stats, and when I came across TDK, they were pretty next to each other in terms of what they did for the year. And yeah, it's for me, it kind of reminds me that like a lot of people have said Roma's had a pretty reasonable year and whatnot, and TDK's had a down year. And when they're so close, the numbers are ridiculous. There's 3 clearances difference between them in De Koning's favour. There's 2 hitouts to advantage difference between them in Roma's favour. That being said, in terms of hitouts to advantage, Roma goes at 25%, TDK goes at over 30%. So that extra bump is going to be nice, considering we do sit pretty much bottom of the table in terms of most of the rucking stats. So very excited for what this could mean for next year and the years beyond.
So it sounds like you are in the boat of you're excited about this more so than what the price tag is. So you're kind of overlooking that.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of discussions in how lists are built. I think where we all speculate on what dollars are and whatnot, but yeah, I think it really comes down to you just got to get a better team. Like consistently, you got to get better, and there's going to be price tags attached to that. I've sent you, guesstimations from articles that have been released, and what Naz sits in that bracket. He sits somewhere between sort of, Franklin and Dusty Martin sort of money when they were signed in percentage of the cap, and TDK is a bit lower back than that, but not too much. But that being said, it's about getting those players in areas you need help with, and I mean we get the ability to put Marshall forward now. I'm also not putting a ton of stock into the performance in the second half of this year. I think if you look at last year's numbers, if we get anything like that, it's going to be very exciting.
Just yeah. I mean, I would say that obviously, if you haven't watched Tom de Koning prior to this season and you've just watched the back end of this year because he's linked to St Kilda and that's kind of made you want to focus on him more, and you've seen his form. Carlton have played him forward. Carlton have been struggling in their own right. They've picked up some form the last couple of weeks, and I thought he's played pretty good in a couple of those games, but watch the first 10 games of this season and watch the bulk of 2024. And he does some things that Ruckman shouldn't really do. His burst out of the contest to win a clearance is next level for a big man. And the one thing that I think maybe we've overlooked as a fan base is the potential rule changes in this area that might actually benefit players like Tom de Koning, who can, if they bring in the run and jump and he can do that in the ruck contest, he will dominate most ruckmen in the comp. Not to mention having 5 on the bench and no sub. More teams will probably be looking towards having the 2 bigs in the team because of that factor.
Yeah, there's definitely going to be a requirement for more flexibility. I mean, the benefit of a sub is, technically you get an injury, there's somebody to back it up. But I mean, if we're just going to expand the bench, which I'm not sure I'm a huge fan of, to be honest, I'd like more subs. I think just emergencies, they stand at the ground for no other reason. May as well have them there to play if somebody's injured. But I know that's a minority thought. Otherwise, yeah, I'm very excited because I do think Marshall's shown a little bit in the back end of this year with the addition of Keeler, Dodson, Heath, and it seemed to have helped his form, which was a bit down himself in the first half of the year. So, yeah, I think this just bodes really well. It gives the ability to kind of focus in on the now. Marshall's moving into 30 years and older, and we've got a bit of time before we see Heath or Dodson kind of take that next mantle.
That's exactly why I wanted to bring up Billy's comment of we've got Dodson and Moose. Firstly, Moose is, I think, without a contract, so we don't even know if he's going to be at the club next season. We don't know what's happening. I'd love for him to be. I think having him and Dodson sort of work through the St Kilda VFL side while Marshall and TDK are the senior players would be great. But then you've got Keeler as well, and he may potentially be a powerhouse forward ruck in the future with Dodson and TDK once Rowe's wrapped up and finished up, or if he goes. I hope he doesn't, but I think people need to not put too much pressure on unproven rucks right now. Let Dodson just build and grow. TDK's had 8 years in the system. He's in his prime. He's ready to go. And if we want to be in 2 years' time retaining players like Nasiah and Filippo, and hopefully Windy sticks around, we need to be probably making a move quicker than we all thought. And that was a point we talked about on the podcast, was we've gone from potentially bottom 4 material to no man's land to, okay, are we trying to make a jump really quickly like in Adelaide? Like they went from 15th to minor. Are we trying to do something like that in the next 2 years? But on the flip side, the good thing is we have a foundation of youth that means if it doesn't quite land in 2 years' time, we should still have enough to continue that in year 3, year 4 and beyond? It's not all chips in 2 years.
Not at all. I think that's where I didn't want to get too much into what may or may not be done with list structures, financing, and front or back loading caps. But I think there's been a lot of speculation, if we are going to touch on it quickly, that we've been trying to meet the minimum threshold of the cap, right? So, I mean, even base level numbers that have been thrown out there suggest we were probably sitting around 75% of kind of player payments that without putting that extra bit on top anyway.
Yeah,
and these are all very hypothetical numbers because they're very rough estimates that have been thrown out there in articles here and there. But I mean, it's if we've kind of set things up as some have suggested, I mean, we might just be meeting the bottom of the cap now with Naz getting his extension and TDK getting this money. We might even still have the ability to front load these caps, these contracts, and keep more room for further down the line.
And I think having this wrapped up early, ideally, means that we can look at other things. We can probably see, what else is possible? Can we strengthen even more? Can we look at another area of need? Small forward with obviously Ryan is the key link. Backline, it's Leek Lear. Midfield, question mark. Is there a mid out there that we could be looking at? We don't know. But based on what you're saying, is there's still a little bit of cash around that could be thrown around. Obviously, to retain Windy priority. We can't jump the gun there. We want to keep him. But even if we do re-sign him, there's still room to move in the cap.
Yeah, well, I mean, that seems to be the suggestion from those more in
from the outside.
So I mean, if it were me, right, and like I think to NBA as well, as the comment, as the fan here says, but I mean, in NBA, I think of multitudes of different teams that they know that time has come, so they sell off their players. They try and get as much return for the drafts coming through, and then eventually they build to a point like this where they're kind of going, all right, well, it's time to get rid of all this capital that we've built up over time and really aim to kind of get this growth happening this year and next year, because we will get more capital back from the league in that time, and we might only have a small deficit by the time we need just a small increase to kind of get over the line and get into a flag territory. So I think we're poised well currently.
100%. And I didn't get a chance to read. I'll get it now. NB. When was the last time we signed someone like this in their prime from another club, let alone a big club, 100,000 membership club? 100%. We've never done this stuff. And I know some people will say, well, it's a lot of money, but Finn Callahan turned down a lot of money. Zach Merritt turned down ridiculous money to stay at Essendon, who are lower than Carlton on the ladder. We've looked at Matt Rao. We've looked at LDU, who decided to stay at North. It's not like we just put the money on the table and that means he's going to come. He still wants, like as much as people say it's just about the money, then all these players should have just been coming to St Kilda then, based on that logic. But they didn't. They re-signed at their clubs. They stayed on deals at their clubs. He still had over $1 million offer at Carlton. 1.2, I think, is as much as they might have gone. So we had to at least beat that by a couple 100,000 a year to even get him out. There's that, I've said it to death on the channel, but for a small club like us, we need to pay overs to get players out of clubs. And if that player is already being offered 1.1, 1.2 at his club, who is a big club, you're going to have to offer probably upwards of 1.5, which we've done to get him out.
Yeah, agreed. And like, if Carlton did, as some people I watched, listened to Dan Does Footy's thing today, and he said they might have even upped the offer to 1.3, 1.35 territory. So,
okay.
I mean, if we'd only given 1.5, is 150K enough for you to leave all your mates and whatnot behind? I mean, when you're already earning 1.3 $3 million. Maybe it's not. I'm not in a territory to have that sort of money to give good ideas on how you might decide those sort of situations. But I mean, for me, it feels like we needed to spend this money. It just disappears. The cap is a rolling situation where, you only get so long to spend above the cap as well. So if we do want to go all in, we might spend 110% or 105% of the cap to really get those, more players through the door. You did mention you couldn't remember the last time, and I thought about it. Billy mentioned on the side there, and yeah, I think it was Hamill. Like in my lifetime, it would have been Hamill. So
Hamill, that was Hamill came the same year as Fraser Gehrig, I believe, right?
Yeah,
exactly.
Well,
so it was a big off
that's
season.
what my memory says.
We traded a player and a pick, I think, and that pick ended up being Daniel Kerr for West Coast. We got Fraser Gehrig, and then he goes on to become one of the most dangerous big men in the competition, Coleman medalist, and didn't quite get us to the grand final, but he made us an absolute powerhouse as a forward.
Yeah.
Hopefully, the sort of culture shift with bringing in these types of players is very reminiscent of that time.
I mean, yeah, there's that time and the 20 sort of, I believe it was 17 when we got Butts, Howard, Jones, Paddy Ryder, and when we got those players through, and the major difference now seems to be the level of youth or the quality of youth that we have now compared to then. Back then, those players were almost brought in to be the floor of what has been this rebuild. And if we're going to kind of think of it as, progression to kind of getting up the ladder and hopefully being in the top 8 next year, it is getting TDKs. It is going all in on an Aaliyah, on a Luke Ryan, not Luke Ryan, Flying Ryan.
Liam Ryan. Luke Ryan.
Exactly. I know, he'd be another great addition.
Fullback sorted.
Yep. But I mean, this is what you need to kind of when you just look at club builds across any sport, it is identifying where your list's at, going hard, believing, and then having that sort of shift in culture, shift in results. So hopefully we're seeing something soon.
Yeah. And this comment here, it's a lot of money, but we're essentially buying a first round pick because, we don't have picks and we don't have to give up picks to get a player like him. So we kind of, in a way, I feel like that's only a good thing. You don't want to be giving up 2 first round. We've done it before. We've given up picks for big name players and it hasn't worked out. And then we wonder, in a couple of years' time, geez, we should have just hit the draft. We've done that. We can't say that we've skipped really a step. We've kind of been very methodical with our method of, Ross has come in, he's looked at the list. We made a final. He said it himself. He realized that's as far as this team goes. We're going to hit the draft. We're going to get the players that we need. And that will make this team better, and we got lucky in the draft. We got Naz, we got Philippo, we got Wilson, Collard, Boxall, Windy, Owens, and probably Dodson. There's such a plethora of talent there. And now, after a year of them playing and I guess building that chemistry in the team, we can add those key pillars. And Woody, mate, how many times have we watched a game and we look undersized? We get dominated in the air. We lose contested marks by a significant number. Rowe, even though we love him around the ground, gets dominated against the big boys in the middle of the ground. They push him aside. Probably should have got a free kick in that last 30 seconds yesterday. But again, he was manhandled to the point where that won them the game. Even though it should have been a free kick, he was manhandled. So maybe Rowe having that pressure of just, dominating around the ground while TDK can do the more physical stuff brings the best out of both of them.
Yeah, definitely. And I feel like it's taken a little bit of time for him to get into this year. Be that, I think he started the season a little bit late in terms of preseason. But yeah, I mean, it's taken him a bit to find the form that we've known him for. He's getting to 30 years old. We're essentially, I mean, at this point, if we didn't get a TDK, we'd be desperate for Moose to just develop more, to Keeler to develop more.
Correct.
To like these guys, we'd be putting so much pressure on our youth to take that step where, yeah, you
In
might
such a short
find
amount of time too.
exactly. And look, you might find a diamond in the rough. It's happened a little bit with Naz in some regards. He's maybe not had as much pressure to do it until more recently, but he's thrived under it, no doubt. So I think there's an element of, yeah, things could have gone amazingly if we get the kids out there and they just keep shining, but there's no guarantee of that. And the longer you give them a season against the Gorns, Cherries, the Englishes of the ruck world, they're gonna struggle to battle it out week on week. So, I mean, we don't want Rowe coming towards the end of his career struggling to finish out a season. We don't want the kids struggling to finish out a season because they've had to do more than you'd like. So TDK is this perfect situation in between where he's the right age. He's going to just move on with this group of kids that we have, and he'll probably be around as, we've given him an 8-year contract from all reports. That might not be the end of it. I mean, Franklin got an 8-year contract and did another 2 years on top of it. So
yeah,
and he might be around for another 10.
Yeah, and I think it was initially a 7-year deal, and I think we only upped it to 8 in the last couple of weeks, I believe. So I don't know. Do you think maybe we did that to move some extra money around potentially, stretch it out even more? Maybe it lowers the overall contract. It would obviously over the duration. Whether I think it is probably front ended, and then the back end of it will sort of drop a little bit, which then obviously leaves more space for re-signing other players. He's 26 years old, as Riley has suggested. So exactly in the demographic that we have that gap in. If you look at our list, we have a lot under 22. Then there's I think maybe Higo, Clark, I can think of, maybe Stocker. Who else is in that 25, 26 range? There's not many. There's not many at all in that. No. And if you look at some of the best teams in the comp, they've got that blend of a couple of youngsters, a lot in that 24 to 28 range in their prime, and then a couple of senior heads in the 29, 30, 31 department. We've got nothing in the middle.
Yeah. And that's where, I mean, we've hoped to have had our own drafts in the past kind of get there, Hunter Clark being in those sort of areas, other things, but for reasons maybe not those players' faults in any regard, they've either moved on to other clubs or not been where we've wanted them to get to so far. So I mean, I think there's just so much potential out of this, especially when you consider if this rumor that's been around all years has been true, how many rumors that have been around for a little while now have been true, so I mean, is Aaliyah around the corner? When, I mean, GWS, they got us this weekend, but maybe they go out in the first week of finals, and in 2 weeks we get Aaliyah's news. So I mean, we're just at an exciting time of year. I mean, this is the perfect time of year for every Saint fan. Like we have the amazing draft coming up with our NGAs, and they're amazing, obviously. So
well, I mean, it's good to see there's a fair bit of positivity in the comments. I'm surprised that there's not more Sainers jumping on, but I guess how can you not be excited? Forget the money, but we're in a good zone right now. We're building and we're growing into this team that could actually be pretty exciting to watch. And that's another thing is, bums on seats, memberships, having a household name that people know already. That's stuff that we just haven't had for a long time.
Yeah. I mean, look, don't get me wrong. I love the Dodzilla sort of stuff.
Have you kissed your dog yet, Woody?
No, he's
Where
asleep.
is he?
He's back there. Yeah, he's asleep. But no, I haven't kissed the dog. I've been finishing. Well, I was going to finish up this script, and then all of a sudden, all this news broke. So it was just time to celebrate. But
yeah, I mean, he does look good in the the red, white, and black. I'll say that much.
Yeah, he does
Would-
look nice. Is he?
Like-
Was he a Saints fan when he was young? Is that right?
Funny you mention that because I have a couple of photos here.
Yeah.
Let me find them.
Give
Although
him up.
the airdrop is has not done me a favor. Let's go. But yeah, I think he played at Mount Martha,
Okay, yeah, not far.
which was the St Kilda. They wear the St Kilda colours, I believe.
Yeah. It's not too far from Melbourne, so it's, yeah.
So there's one.
There he is.
It's the junior footy. Fast forward a few years, there's another. And then hopefully we'll see that very soon. So that's, I mean, I'm pretty excited by that. Like,
Yeah,
not going to lie. I just feel like we just don't get hands to the contest. I mean, what was the stat you had about the first hands to the contest? We were low. We were the bottom.
Yeah,
of the
so I
ladder or
mean,
something?
we're pretty bad. I just changed everything. So give me a second. But yeah, we're like the worst in every term. And like when you look at just stats from,
Is that Nick? That's not Nick Rewalt. That's someone's trolling. That's not Nick Rewalt. Anyway,
that is not Nick Rewalt. No, but if we look at our rocking stats, we have the lowest amount of hit outs at 32.5. We attend basically 100 ruck contests exactly, so we've got a 32.5% win rate. In terms of what actually goes to advantage, though, that's 8 a game, and of the ones that go to advantage from our win rate is again third last. So we're just not great in that regard. Marshall used to get a lot of ruck hardball gets where you just push the guy out of the way, grab the ball, he spins and kicks it all the time. But it's one of those ones where he's not doing that as much anymore either, because he's looking for that hands, trying to get that off to Navs a bit more. He's got more trust in his midfield group too. So yeah, I mean we've been pretty much the worst in the ruck contest across the board. We've not bad in terms of hit out sharked. Round 17, I have the stats for that. We had the best differential, but I haven't been able to get the stats for the end of season yet, so that might be coming soon. But yeah, I mean we need a good ruck, and if these ruck changes happen, we're looking at a good ruck. That's
surely we know these changes are happening.
I mean, I think it seems pretty clear at this point. Yeah, but who knows what the AFL wants to do, right? They pick and choose as they go.
Connor is saying this is probably the first time I've dreamed of a flag. I dream of a flag every night, Connor. So I don't know what you're doing, mate, with your dreams, but early 2010s. So he's got the belief. Does Woody have the belief?
Yeah, I mean it's the best we've looked in a decade. Yeah, a decade. Like at least if since whenever we moved on from Ross last. It's yeah. I mean, if we can, if we get Aaliyah through, if we can get more from Pooh, from Owens, from a few more in the stoppage there, Garcia. If we can, get what we want out of Marshall forward, TDK in the ruck, Liam Ryan, if he does decide to, and we get him over the line, getting an extra 30 odd goals a game, setting up an extra, or a year, setting up an extra 20 odd of them as well. I mean, we've been a solid 10 to 30 odd % behind in a lot of stats this year.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where hopefully this inclusion of players, the NGA looks great in
Fincher.
Kai Fincher. Yeah, he looks great. I don't know, man. Like all the things look good. Like right now, it's the best things have looked, in my opinion, since the 2010s, as the commenters.
This is. It feels like I'm actually amazed that we've gone through. We've lost to West Coast, the only team to lose to West Coast, and it looked like we were so far off it. We were so far off it. We couldn't even really look at the fixture and pinpoint when's the next win coming. And the future didn't look great. And now all of a sudden, it's amazing how quickly a club can build momentum. And maybe the club knew internally, yeah, we'll ride this. We'll cop the hit. We know we've lost and we're not going the way we want, but we know the overall strategy is to do what we're doing. And behind the scenes, they're just calm. They know this is where we're at. This is what we're going to do. And in time, in the fullness of time, as Ross has loved to say, we will hopefully put out a team that's highly competitive, which, to be fair, the last 10 weeks we have been already.
Yeah, there's I see a fair amount of similarities to Collingwood when they were trying to make their rise up the ladder, or when they had their biggest fall, right? And still had a lot of positives developing, right as Dacos was getting there and all that jazz. So, I mean, you think about what an elite player like Dacos has done to Collingwood. Naz will do similar things to us as he keeps developing. I did some really base level projections on Naz. I'd still have him getting another disposal and a half or so a game next year on just general improvement curves. He's going to be looking at next year having nearly the most disposals per season of any Saint player ever, and as far as I can tell. He's already done home and away numbers this year, but I mean, just the averages didn't quite get him over the line for finals players, such as Robert Harvey mostly. But yeah, I mean, he's in the echelon of Robert Harvey right now, and like we've got players that get to learn off of that, somebody with that level of skill, and I think it's near invaluable.
Colin's asking, do you reckon we'll ever see Rowan Marshall playing as a ruck rover to TDK? I can't imagine that's gonna. I don't think Rowe has that speed.
I think you've got to have
Jackson
it the other
way
around. I mean, I feel like TDK has got a ruck rove to Marshall. Like Marshall will just stand there. Somebody hits him. TDK is like, I'm ready. I'm gonna grab it over the top of a midfielder.
I'm very excited by this.
I don't think it'll ever happen, but it'll be a great year next year. I reckon it'll be a lot of fun.
Well, yeah, I mean, apparently the exit interview is, I think, Wednesday, they mentioned, for Carlton. So we probably won't get the official from, I guess, the AFL, but everyone's running with it now. I have confirmed it. I have double checked with certain people to make sure. I didn't want to just jump on a live after Sam McClure dropped some news, because we know that's not always accurate. But the age actually, before that even came out, already had an article saying Saints land to Koning on 8-year deal. Fox Sports, Saints mega deal gets even bigger as shock plot secures Blues prized player. He did post, Tom, just before I drove home from the studio for his 100th game. But he did turn the comments off, and I thought that was a bit interesting. Well, they played on the Thursday night. He waited until Monday to drop that post. Maybe it was because something else was going to be publicized, and it turns out
they probably had their Mad Monday, and
actually that's
loose
true.
Lips sink ships, as they say. So it's probably best to get it out now.
Not to mention his speech in the rooms didn't really sound great from a Carlton fan point of view. Compare it to Naz in our rooms, where we were all losing our shit. You put them next to each other, and you kind of think it actually makes the Naz one sound a lot better.
Definitely.
when you listen to them back.
And I mean, I feel like I was pretty convinced he was gone. Like I was very different spectrums for my level of thought process on Naz versus TDK. I was very convinced Tom was coming to us from sort of round, I don't know, 5-10, somewhere in that realm. And yeah, I mean, Naz was a nail biter till the last second. So I mean, if we can get Windy over the line, which hopefully we hear good things soon, then yeah, it'll be pretty much all ticks going into the off season so far.
No doubt. Once it's all locked in, the first time Tom has a poor game or kicks the ball badly, we're going to have the media all over us. We're going to have the media
Terry,
all over him.
mate, he's going to be all
the
over
Carlton
us.
Supporters. That was salty on Twitter like a week ago before it was even out. You know, they were already saying good. All right, fair enough. Worry about your football club. We'll worry about us. We'll do what we need to do, and then in 10 years' time, we can have a little meeting. We'll have a barbie, and we'll talk about which club, benefited more from this decision. They get compensation. They'll get the pick after us, which is funny. Which means, what does that mean? That means we can do something pretty funny.
Yeah, there's a Carlton NGA.
Is it Charlie Dean? Is it Charlie Dean?
I feel like Charlie Carlton as the Collingwood player. But yeah, I believe his last name is Harry Dean, is it?
Isn't Harry Dean?
I can't quite remember.
Yeah, Harry Dean, tall defender, 193 centimeters, I think. Yeah,
it's not that
Blues father's son, who's touted a top 10. He's actually kind of fits a need for us in a funny way.
Does he? I feel like
actually he's 193. So if we're not,
I don't feel like he's super fit. I mean,
maybe not. But would we bid on? Is that something you think will be a lock that we'll bid on that on draft night? I
don't think he's a top 10 player. In the
but if he does go top 10, do we bid on him before Carlton to make them
I just don't think it's worth it. I think Carlton might just let him go to us if that's the case. I don't know if that would be
that would be the ultimate trump card.
Yeah, I feel like, look, if he was a midfielder and maybe we've got that kind of one spot I reckon that the kind of need there. I reckon if in terms of next year, like if we get everybody that's been mentioned, we probably just one really good mid, maybe a back pocket, considering we've got, Stocker, then maybe Liam O'Connell as kind of the 1 and 2 at the moment.
McLennan, if he stays, Angus Hasty, don't forget.
Yeah, that's true. There's Hasty doesn't feel as much of a lockdown though. He feels a bit more of
he doesn't.
Running half back type. So yeah, I feel like we are missing that sort of role. But yeah, I mean, I feel like I can't really figure out what else we'd be missing. Like if we get Liam Ryan, if we get TDK, we can move Roma as a tall forward. We get Lear in. I mean, we've got the ability to maybe swing Taru. We can't play more than 3 defensive talls. I mean, we've got Cooper Sharman and Owens plays a bit taller than his size anyway. Like, how tall can we really go forward? We need some smalls, and we'll get them sorted. So
what the forward line next year could look like: King, Higgins, Ryan, Owens, Sharman, Hall
probably, yeah.
Hall floating with Filippo as well.
Yeah, Filippo as well. Jeez.
I
feel like
Darcy Wilson kicks 5, and now we're like, geez, do we play him as a half forward flanker now? Big headaches. It's going to be very hard to select that round 1 team. I hope it is anyway, because that means everyone's fit. That's the key thing.
Yeah, exactly right. Fit. And I mean, for me, we're almost at the stage of if we're getting Fincher, that's looking to be sort of a 2nd round pick somewhere, maybe early, maybe mid, somewhere like that. Who knows? But if we get Fincher, if we get, another good end of whatever draft pick, 60 odd something, we've pulled a few out there from Garcia to Boxall. I like Ari, whatever happens to him, I like Ari. And yeah, I mean, at that stage, we just need to go, all right, well, do we really want pick 1 this year? If there's a player out there that fills that midfield need, and it takes pick 1 this year, next year, whatever it might be, I'm ready to just buy in. It feels like it's a chips in situation. Like right now, we've got this cards stacked as most in our favour they have been in a long time. And it would be silly to go anything but all in for me, because the worst that can happen is you get a year down the track, you don't quite get the development you want, but hey, you've made these dramatic changes, and you've made, these changes that some of them will work, some of them might not, but like at the end of the day, we've developed it further as a side. So
yeah, 100%, and all in off
yeah.
season. I like that from Isaac.
Yeah, chips in, go all in.
But the club won't. The club's not going to label it that. They're not going to put more pressure on themselves. I think we're just going to be the silent assassin in a way, where we just kind of maneuver what we need to. Don't say too much. We'll get a lot of outside noise, a lot of hate, which we are already with. The draft stuff we want to change, the academies and all that.
I feel like it's almost. I'd almost be the opposite in some regards.
Yeah,
I'd almost just. It's hard. For me. It's like
boisterous.
If you go all in, it's time to believe. Like there's no more. Oh, the kids are going to take over. It's it's no more of like, oh, can these veterans do another couple of years in this transitional period? It's, hey, we got to believe in ourselves. We got to believe we can get it done, or very close to get it done, with the additions and mentality, changes, and hopefully ball movement changes in the off season that make us a more threatening side. So for me, it's about time to believe, time to go all chips in, time to get the last piece of the puzzle if that's what it really requires.
I just saw that Aaron Hamill's not going to be working at Carlton from next year. Wouldn't it? That would be the ultimate troll thing, to get him from Carlton again for a second time, just as a VFL coach or something.
It would be nice to have.
It would be kind of funny.
Hamill back. He was one of my favorite players when I was young.
Didn't
get to see him play much. He was injured a lot, but no, I loved Hamill. Great forward.
Rap says, why are we not mentioning King? It's, I guess, because that's a good thing that we don't have to. Hopefully, we won't have to rely. We want the big fella, and when we're up and about, he's going to have a big say in it. But there's other areas of the ground that we're clearly focused on in building, and the ruck and the midfield in general was one. And I think Tom fits the bill there. But obviously, Kingy, if he's running out round one, I'm going to be. Well, there's going to be a tear in my eye. I tell you that.
We've needed assistance for King. Like we've needed that actual tall forward, as much as Owens and Sharman would to a degree. They can fly, they can take a mark contestedly, that sort of stuff. We've needed that pillar that's requiring other people to fly against them, so that we get the ground balls more often. And somebody to assist King in that role, so he's not one out, and the defense isn't, or the opposition defense isn't just floating straight in front of him, ready to take these spoils. So this is going to give Roma the opportunity to work on his forward craft in the off season, assist King. As much as we haven't discussed King, I think this is a major benefit for him too, and it just bodes well.
Mate, I appreciate your time. I think we'll wrap it up there, saying as I'll probably do more videos on this during the week, to be honest, once I guess he has the exit interview and that sort of thing happens. But I guess Tom de Koning on an 8-year deal to St Kilda is happening, confirmed tonight. And I'm absolutely stoked to get a player that's going to make us better, that fits a need in that age bracket, that can, I guess, build with the young core that we've got coming through at the moment. And I guess he just helps players around him. That's the thing that I guess you can lose sight of when you look at players coming in. You don't realize what they can do for someone else. And bringing him in, there is a bit of a link to getting the best out of Rowe. He doesn't have to be the number one man all year and smash his body week in, week out. It'll help Kingy coming back into senior football. And then, obviously the better rucks you've got, hopefully that helps Dodson's development, Keeler as well. And on the ultimate thing is to just, it helps us win games. Helps us win games of football.
Think about how amazing Naz was when he was trying to figure out where the opposition ruck was tapping it to each bloody centre bounce.
Imagine how
Now,
proactive they can
oh
be.
mate, he spent half a year in the guts this year, got like a centre clearance and a half
Yeah, yeah.
and a game, and like he's amazing at without anybody giving him any help. Realistically, I mean, Steely and McRae do some defensive work here and there to help him out. Don't get us wrong,
Mm,
and sometimes Garcia or whoever Max Hall maybe helps him out. But I mean, for the back half of this year, it is Naz going to get off the chain, and that required him figuring out what the opposition ruck was going to do. If TDK can just give him the first opportunity, oh mate, we could be looking at record numbers next year. Who knows?
jeez. That could be getting TDK could fast track Naz's first Brownlow. Not to get all nuffy on everyone, but who knows? Who knows what that means for our midfield? And if we snatch up another midfielder that can work with TDK and Naz, who knows if that's something we can look at? But awesome news. And just lastly, I'll just quickly go to Susie, who she just says she trusts the list management and the strategy. She trusts the club. And I feel like we're getting to that point, aren't we? Where we can just sit back. Like imagine Geelong supporters. We're not at that level, obviously, but you get my point is that they don't think about cap. They don't think, I mean, maybe because they've got.
Might not have to worry.
Let's not go there. Let's not go there. But let's
No.
pretend they're a really
Yeah.
well-run and fair
They're all
team.
above
They do
board.
everything. Yeah, they do everything legally.
Yep.
They sit back and don't worry about this stuff. I would love to not worry about, us doing just blowing the club up, And I think Susie's point is spot on. Just trust that we're doing what we're doing because we want to win games and because we want to be a dominant force and a feed club over the next 10 years. And I think, I'm getting to that point. Sometimes your faith is tested, but signing Naz was kind of the big point. And I think that tips a lot in our favor. Like what Ross said last week, if that hadn't happened, maybe this strategy would have changed. I don't know. Maybe TDK doesn't come. I don't know. But
yeah, I mean, there
these
was
players want to play with him.
Sentiment towards the list management when Naz hadn't signed. That's for sure. I got quite a few messages about Sauce and people's thoughts about him. But yeah, look, I feel like he's done the job, right? Like he's got Naz over the line. He's got somebody else in TDK over the line. He might have a few others to go. I mean, these dominoes might be leading to a bigger domino down the line. We'll see.
Don't tease, Woody. Don't tease, mate. It's
who knows? Who
it's
knows?
unfair, mate.
I mean, he's been kicking goals so far. I mean, before I was watching a defender, and worrying about how he was going to do with our list management. Now Sauce looks like a premiership forward, so man's doing what he needs.
Unreal Saners. We'll wrap it up there. It's past 10, so we know it's getting pretty late, but I appreciate all of you tuning in. It says 920 of you tuning in right now, which is incredible. We'll have more confirmation, more news on this as it breaks during the week. And hopefully we can't forget, we want Windy signed as well. That'll be a huge, huge announcement in the next week, hopefully, that we'll get. And then, I guess maybe more trade rumors and whatnot circulating. But I appreciate it. I'll let you go, Woody. We know you've got some stuff to do, and we'll probably see you tomorrow anyway for your video, which will be amazing.
Yep.
And the podcast is going to
finish that now.
I'm going to go edit the podcast, and we're going to be talking about TDK for most of it anyway. So it's good timing.
Exactly. Tomorrow's going to be a very big Tom de Koning day. That's for sure. It's already been a big Tom de Koning night. So very happy.
I appreciate you jumping on last minute, mate, and thanks to everyone for watching. We'll see you very soon. Take care, and as always, go you mighty Saners. See you guys.
Thanks.